सभी भवी आत्माओं को मेरे हृदय से जय जिनेन्द्र। मैं हूँ डॉक्टर
जय।
प्रीति, आपकी आज की मॉडरेटर। आज से लगभग 3 साल पहले जैन धर्म से जुड़े विविध विषयों पर गहन चर्चा करने के लिए जैन टॉक्स वर्टिकल के साथ जैन फाउंडेशन के कार्यों की शुरुआत हुई थी। इस दौरान कई पद्मश्री और पद्म भूषण सम्मानित अतिथियों के साथ कई विद्वानों ने, साधु संतों ने और विचारकों ने इस मंच पर अपनी अपनी उपस्थिति दर्ज कराई और अपनी अपनी तरह से अपने अपने नए नए विषयों को रखा। आज के एपिसोड में जैन टॉक्स के मंच पर आज के 203वें सेशन में आप सभी दर्शकों का स्वागत करते हुए खूब खूब आभार मानती हूँ आप सबों का। और आज के हमारे माननीय अतिथि मिस्टर नितिन जी एचपी का अभिनंदन करती हूँ, जो अपने ज्ञान की गंगा में आज हमें बहाकर ले जाने वाले हैं। और आज का उनका विषय बहुत सुंदर है, जिसका नाम है सल्लेखना इंस्क्रिप्शंस ऑफ कर्नाटका। उन्हें आमंत्रित करने से पहले उनका परिचय और उनके टॉपिक के बारे में थोड़ा जान लेते हैं। It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Nitin HP, a distinguished professional, Guinness World Record holder, and a passionate heritage enthusiast. With over 18 years of corporate experience, Mr. Nitin has worked with renowned IT companies. Currently, he is serving as an associate director of marketing technology of digital company of Wipro Limited. He heads the team, oversees digital marketing strategies and technology requirements. Alongside his corporate achievements, he is deeply involved in Jainism, serving as the founder and executive director of Jain Heritage Center. This website was launched in 2002 and it has 8,000 images and 3,000 pages of research information on Jainism. His contributions extended to authority that he has acclaimed a book by name Jain Yatra, and it has numerous articles on Jain epigraphy, iconography and temples. उन्होंने जैन धर्म को बहुत ऊंची आगे तक ले जाने की बहुत सुंदर बातें रखी है, and I proudly say that he is my student and he is pursuing MA in Jainology at the University of Madras. और क्या कहूँ, आप अभी उन्हें सुनिए और आपको पता चल जाएगा कि उनकी ज्ञान की गंगा कितनी डीप तक जा रही है। Please join me in welcoming Mr. Nitin HP, a multifaceted individual whose contributions spans the realm of technology, heritage, conservation and social activism. Welcome Mr. Nitin जी, आप अपना प्रेजेंट शेयर करिए हमारे साथ। Over to you, Nitin जी.
Om Namah Siddhebhyah. Jai Jinendra, everyone. I would like to thank the Jain Foundation for inviting me here to the 203rd talk of the Jain Talk series. Before I begin, I think I would like to say it is just something called as Punya Bandh. Mera Punya Bandh hai, Puru Janma ka Punya hai, where I have been introduced by my own guru, Dr. Preeti Jain. She is she's presently working as an assistant professor at the Center of Jaina Studies, Jain deemed to be university in Bangalore. And she's also a guest faculty at the Department of Jainology, University of Madras. And also she's a Swadhyayi for over 25 years. And more than anything, all her erudite knowledge and everything came into the limelight through her PhD work, and where she was awarded the PhD from the University of Madras under the guidance of Dr. Priyadarshana Madam. She's done her MA in Jainology from the Madras University. In addition to that, I think she's also been a part of a lot of workshops related to meditation, the Lord Buddha, 31 breathing techniques and meditation, Preksha meditation, karma, rebirth and healing, and a lot of other things. I think it's along with that, she's also part of the workshop of research methodology in arts, humanities, and social sciences held in 2005. She's also participated in the workshop on Sallekhanā in 2015, where I was also a speaker over there. It's again a privilege that we are again getting together on the same topic here. And along with that, she's also published a lot of articles in Jinwani magazine. She has also published her paper in Gnana in Vachanamrita, and also multiple other papers. It's such a honor to be part of this series, and particularly being introduced by my own guru. With this, I'll start the presentation. While I start this presentation, you will see various facets of Sallekhana inscriptions and its dimensions. While we start this, before we get into the actual topic, that is Sallekhana inscriptions of Karnataka, I think there is some amount of prelude that is required to set the context. I'll start with that. So if you look at this, the entire presentation you will have about these are the different topics, and it will further continue. And before we start, what is Sallekhana? Sallekhana is also known as Samlekhana, Samthara, Samadhi Marana, or Sannyasana Marana, conduct of Jainism. And it is also a religious practice of voluntary fasting by individuals. Having said this, what is the awareness of Sallekhana among people? Many people have heard about the term. Many knew that this was a ritual. Some knew how this has been done, how this has been practiced. Scholars, like what I just mentioned, knew a lot of details about it. They had in-depth knowledge about it, its forms, types, practices, through various religious works. Archaeologists and epigraphists knew about it through inscriptions and memorials. But when did it come to the forefront? In 2016, there was a verdict from the High Court of Rajasthan where it said the practice of Sallekhana or Samthara is illegal and Jains cannot practice it henceforth. And it said it is hereby ordered that the Jain community should produce the proofs of the practice of Sallekhana prior and post-independence. When this happened, a lot of people started thinking, oh, it's a big impact on the concept of Sallekhana. ये अपना Sallekhana जो हम concept है उसके ऊपर एक गदा प्रहार है. That was the right word. Many scholars and Muni Maharaj and the community at large started speaking. But we started further getting into it. I was part of that movement where we started to challenge that entire petition with the Supreme Court of India. And as a result of that, a lot of research was done. And what you see here is part of that research, just a part of that. And Sallekhana in the Jain religious texts, if you ask me, there are a lot. Just to mention a few, it's seen in Marana Karandika. Bhagavati Aradhana is also called as Moola Aradhana by Shivarya. Samantabhadra Acharya Ratnakarndaka Shravkacharya. You see a few shlokas related to Sallekhana. Acharya Amrita Chandra Swami's Purushartha Siddhi Upaya. Even there you find references of Sallekhana. Then the question among common men is, what is the concept of death in Jainism? More than anything, why did Jains install memorials in memory of people who died? People तो मरते रहते हैं, उनके ऊपर उनके मेमोरी में क्यों मेमोरियल्स खड़ा किया गया? That was the biggest question सब में. And many of them said, death is a natural process. Why is it given so much of importance? We should all understand, friends. Jainism is a religion of Atma. And Atma is invisible. When a person dies, there is an end to his body, but not to his Atma. Hence, why should we be fearful about death? So death is glorified through these memorials, is one way of looking at it. And according to Acharya Samantabhadra, in Ratnakarndaka Shravkacharya, accordingly, and even Kannada poet Pampa, in his works, and through his work Adi Purana, and Acharya Jinasena in Purva Purana have discussed about it, about death in detail, and it can be summarized as Jains are not scared of death. Instead, they welcome death. They call it as Mahanavami, that is a great festival. They welcome death in a way similar to welcoming birth. Celebrating death is the speciality of Jainism. People would be wondering what it was. This is the answer. And next, practice of Sallekhana. Jains have not restricted the concept of Sallekhana only to books, like what I mentioned. They have practiced in their life. day in, day out, they have practiced the thing. They have installed memorials in memory of people who have practiced Sallekhana and attained Samadhi. Then, what are these Sallekhana memorials? In memory of people they are who have attained Samadhi through the practice of Sallekhana. Many memorials have been installed across the length and breadth of India, but they are called by different names. In Karnataka, they are called as Nishadi, Nisidi, Nishadi, different names. Palli in Tamil Nadu, Nasiya or Nishiyaji, Kshatriya in Gujarat or even in northern part of India, even Tonk. Among all of them, let's focus on the Sallekhana inscriptions of Karnataka, which are called as Nishadi, Nisidi or Nishidi. Why Karnataka? Now, you will understand. As per a survey, based on my studies and many other people's studies, around 80 to 90% of the Sallekhana inscriptions, or even 90 to 95%, I should say, are found in Karnataka. That is why the focus is Karnataka here. What are these? Nishadis are nothing but memorial stones installed in the memory of people who have attained Samadhi by undertaking Sallekhana. And, we spoke about Sallekhana in religious texts. Now, let's even look at Sallekhana memorials or features of Nishadis, what I mentioned, the Sallekhana memorials. Moving forward, if I say Nishadi or Nishadi, means these are all Sallekhana memorials. What are the features? Shivakoti Acharya in his work Bhagavati Aradhana is indicated features of a Nishadi in 7 different Prakrit shlokas. The word vividly describes the work, the directions in which a Nishadi should be installed, like Vastu Rachan, you say, right? Similar to that. Orientation in terms of geographic directions, kind of results obtained by installing the Nishadi in a particular location. That is how in-depth the concept of these memorials are also entwined in our religious works. And now we'll come to the main topic with this background setting. The Sallekhana memorials in Karnataka. Hundreds of Nishadis are found in Karnataka. How many? How? They are found in huge numbers at Shravanabelagola, Koppala, and various parts of Karnataka. Among them, in Shravanabelagola alone, you find 270 plus 271 Nishadi inscriptions. Nishadis are found in Shravanabelagola alone. And bulk of them, you find 2 pahadis. Shravanabelagola में 2 पहाड़ी मिलते हैं आपको. एक है विंध्यगिरी और चंद्रगिरी. चंद्रगिरी है छोटी पहाड़ी. छोटी पहाड़ी के ऊपर आपको ज्यादा से ज्यादा सल्लेखना मेमोरियल्स है, निषदीस है. इसलिए हम श्रवणबेलगोला को विश्व के सल्लेखना कैपिटल बोल सकते हैं. यू कैन कॉल श्रवणबेलगोला एज द कैपिटल ऑफ सल्लेखना. Then there is a place called Koppala in northern Karnataka where 70 Nishadis were found at a single place. What happened was there is a fort. The fort walls, a compound wall, it collapsed. When it collapsed, stone was found. They started looking at it. Some of them were Sallekhana memorial inscriptions. Not 1 or 2, 70 Sallekhana memorial inscriptions. They've all been documented by a renowned scholar called as Acharya by the international scholars, Professor Hampa Nagarajaya sir. He's published a separate book on that. Then in Dharwad region, in Dharwad specific, we have a museum under the Karnataka University called as Karnataka Research Institute where we have 40 Nishadis. In Haveri district, close to 70 Nishadis are found, of which my dear friend Dr. Ravi Kumar Navalgunda, as part of his research, PhD thesis, he's unearthed 50 Nishadis in Haveri district alone. What are the other districts where you find Sallekhana memorials or Nishadis prominently in Karnataka? Mysore, Chamarajanagar, Coorg, Kodagu, Belagavi, Bidar, Shivamoga, and across the length and breadth of Karnataka. Then, now let's look at Nishadi mein kya hota hai? What is there in this Nishadi? The language in which it is being written, you find lipis. The period of installation, when it was installed, and it clearly tells you the date or sometimes the period around which a person attained Samadhi. The person's profile, it could be an Acharya, a Muni Maharaj, Aryaka, king, queen, merchant, Shravaka, Shravika, and so on and so forth. It also gives you details about Guru Parampara, a lineage, relevant details to which the person or the set of munis, set of people belong to. Some of the contents of the Nishadi, some of them are very simple and straightforward and reveal very basic details. Both basic details जो मैंने बताया. Sometimes it even gives details about जो राजा ने समाधि मरण किया, राजा का जो समाधि हुआ उसमें, what was the area of his king's administration? What were the feelings of people that prevailed when the Sallekhana was practiced about the person's economical and financial and social status? Description of Jainism and its glory, admiration of people towards the person undertaking Sallekhana, his qualities. Then the Guru Parampara. Jainism is a religion which has a very great Guru Parampara which is existent even to this day. Here, usually, when you look at the Guru Parampara, you say Sangha, Gacha, right? So it gives details such as Sangha, Gana, Gacha, Anvaya, Badi, Vibhava. These are all the subgradation of the Guru Paramparas that are there. Usually the name of a Sangha is attributed to the head of the group. When we look at a detailed study of these, you also get to know the categories of Jaina asceticism and where they arrived. And it does not indicate any hierarchy more than it is categorization to indicate the ascetics and the order to which they belong. And I'll give you some interesting things. Sangha, which are the Sanghas that are mentioned? Mula Sangha, Nandi Sangha, Dravida Sangha, Yapaniya Sangha, Naviluru Sangha, and all. Mula Sangha has been mentioned the most. Gana, Sanvika Gana, Desi Gana, Dravida Gana, Balatkara Gana, Kanuru Gana, Kadogra Gana, Kaleya Gana, Nandi Gana, Kumudi Gana, Badagara Gana, Sena Gana, and so on and so forth. And it Anvaya, Konda Kundanvaya, Kunda Kundanvaya, Arungalanvaya, Sri Nandyanvaya, Navilu Gundanvaya, Mailapanvaya, Hanasoge Anvaya, so on and so forth. Bali, Inguleshwara Bali, Hanasoge Bali, Pottage Bali, Vadda Devara Bali, Vibhava, Bodha Vibhava, so on and so forth. Again, these were just some examples. Then the Nishadi structure, the Shilalekha memorial, how are they? The number of, they will have different sections. It will have different kind of carvings. It has a certain layout. It sometimes, what does the layout and size indicate? The existence of a temple and basadi, and the type of temple in the village or the place, deity's posture, where the Tirthankar Bhagavan is there in Padmasan, Khadgasan, ya Kayotsar, whatever you call. Then sometimes it even indicates, we can even come to a conclusion about the economic and social status of the person who attained Samadhi or the person who erected the Nishadi. Then you will be, like as per Jaina scriptures, there are specific reasons why a person should take Samadhi or can take Sallekhana. I'll not get into those details, okay, because now we are confining to the inscriptions. But what are the details that we see here? Upasarga, trials and tribulations, जो हम तीर्थंकर भगवान को बोलते हैं. Durbiksha, famine, ill health, old age, snake bite. Interesting. We have details about a Muni, an inscription in South Madurai, which says a Muni called Akshay Kirti, he took Sallekhana because he was bitten by a snake. Then when a person feels ye jeevan nashwar hai, the world is futile, death of a husband or mother-in-law or daughter, when they think there is nothing else left in life, death is imminent. After sustaining injury in the battlefield, to attain salvation. Kshay Rog hone ke karan, due to tuberculosis. Then, what are the types of Nishadi? Based on the structure. Pada Nishadi, feet impressions, jo hum dekhte hai. Tirthankar Bhagwan ka jo dekhte hai. Even those are Nishadis. Okay, then Nishadi inscriptions. Mantapas, pillars. They are also called as Mudija or Mundija. Shilpa, some sculptures. Basadi, some mandirs are constructed. Patashala, idols, Danashala, Shilakuta, the multiple. Based on the person who attained Samadhi, they are called as Veera Nishadi, Masti Nishadi, Veera Masti Nishadi, many. And Nishadi's content, sometimes they are also, some of them they are in Gadya, prosaic format, some of them they are in poetic format. It further, like who is the Kavi who has composed this Nishadi? Some of the names I have given: Nagavarma, Sridharaya, Beladeva, Mallinatha Kavi, Gunavarma, Jinavallabha, so on and so forth. Or one of the other names, Varakavi Padma, Arhat Dasa, some of these poets who have composed these Nishadis in poetic format. Then I said Shravanbelagola is the hotbed of the practice of Sallekhana. Nishadis of Shravanbelagola, if you say, the history of Shravanbelagola starts with a Nishadi. Earliest Nishadi at Shravanbelagola starts from 400 AD and continues up to 14th century. And the death by Samadhi was very popular during the early stages around 800 AD, mainly among the ascetics, gradually among the lay disciples or the Shravakya Shravika. And the profile of people who attained Samadhi, again, like I mentioned earlier, ascetics, Muni Maharaja, Mataji, Aryaka, people from royal families, householders, Shravak, Shravika, kings, queens, and all, people who held different positions, merchants, local officials, warriors. Like I mentioned, most of them are found in Chandragiri. Till date, 271 documented Sallekhanā memorial inscriptions are found in Shravanbelagola. Next, at Shravanbelagola, which is the oldest of all is at Shravanbelagola, which belongs to 400 AD. Friends, point to be noted. People from Karnataka who are listening to this, they will know this. If you ask anyone, which is the oldest Kannada inscription, they say Halmidi inscription. But older to that, 50 years prior to that, is our Sallekhana memorial inscription, which is in Kannada, that finds the mention of the term, what you see on the screen, Nisidi, and the profile of the person who attained Samadhi here was a Muni called as Gunabhushita Muni. And like I mentioned about Gana, like starting from here, whatever I mentioned as a precursor, the type of Nishadis and all, you will start seeing it as we move on. Sanviga Gana, what does it say? Ulada, the Jain king of the region below Shravanbelagola's hillock, belonged to the Sanviga Gana, and he installed the Nishadi of Gunabhushita Muni. Where is it found? It is, you find a mandir or a basadi called as Antarala Parshvanatha Swami Basadi. Just besides that, on the rock bed, you find this. Then look at this. We all know across Jainism, we all know about Acharya Pujapada. We all keep chanting the mantra, Shanti mantra, Sampujakanam, Pratipalakanam, Yatindra Samanya, Tapodananam, Deshasya Rashtrasya Prasya Pragnaha, Karatu Shantim Bhagavan Jainendra. And Acharya Pujapada attained Samadhi at Kanakagiri. And his Nishadi is found here, which is a 5th century Pada Nishadi on the hillock at Kanakagiri hillock in Chamarajanagar district of South Karnataka. But we don't find any inscriptional references. But then how do you conclude that this belonged to 5th century? That is where there was a historian called as Devachandra from Malayuru, a village adjacent to Kanakagiri. He writes in his Rajavadi Kathasara that this is dedicated to Acharya Pujapada. So these kind of cross references will help us conclude the period. This can be considered to be one of the oldest Pada Nishadis in the world. And I'll tell you before I move ahead, what you see here within the mandap, you see a small pedestal here. In 1990s, they happened to renovate this. They open it up just to refit it and to construct the mandap. What happens is, iske niche, just below this, they find a small pot. Within that, they found asti. Probably, Pujapad Acharya ka Samadhi hone ke baad, the ashes were collected in the small pot, and then this Pada Nishadi would have been established. Look at how religiously they have done this. 5th century back, 1500 years back, not today or yesterday, or 100 years back. Then we all know, we have all read about the arrival of Bhadrabahu Muni from north to south to Shravanbelagola. And this is one of the oldest Nishadis again, which mentions about the Samadhi of 700 Munis in a single Nishadi, and it is the earliest inscriptional references. Which indicates the migration of North Indian Jains to South, and the role played by Acharya Bhadrabahu. And it's based on inscriptional text, its period is 600 AD. And it says Muni Prabhachandra and 700 Munis also attained Samadhi. Means to say, friends, I mentioned it gives us a lot of historical facts. This is one of the things which gives us details about the migration of Acharya Bhadrabahu down south. It is again found what you see here. This is the wall of Parshvanatha Basadi, and what you see here, the mantap is called as Mahanavami Mantap. That is where you see. What does it mention? 2 inscriptions. It mentions about Acharya Bhadrabahu. One refers to Chandragupta. It mentions the achievement of Lord Mahavira. It says Bhadrabahu Swami foresaw the arrival of famine at Ujjain for 12 long years and his decision to move south. It mentions about Muni Prabhachandra and 700 Munis attaining Samadhi. Very interesting. Next, you have all heard about Belur and Hadebid. Who doesn't know Belur and Hadebid? About when you come to Karnataka, in Hadebid, the group of 3 temples. There were a lot more temples there. Now we have 3 temples which are under ASI. In front of the temple, you find this. I mentioned to you, right? There's a Kamba Nishadi pillar. See, this is a pillar Nishadi. It is dated to 954 AD, which says Ganga. It gives details about Ganga King Immadi Bhutuga, his lineage. It is again in Old Kannada. And what you see here, you see here 2 faces. You see the lipi here. And on the 3rd phase also, you find the thing, which says a disciple of Abhayanandi Pandita got this Nishadi, or here instead of Nishadi, Nisidi, it is called as Nisidige. Different terms that are used of a Muni called as Moni Bhattara. And I told you about the person who engraved the thing, Kavi, or who carved the inscription. It gives details about the person called Sridharya who carved this. In the 2nd phase, it states that do not praise the greedy. If you wish to praise the people like Moni Bhattara, who is a man of good qualities. 3rd phase, it says the courage of Moni Bhattara. A person called Ballappa went to Kellangere, it says a village, says that he bought this land and tries to acquire it. And you see, a lot of historical facts are there. This inscription is been written in a very poetic format. That is why it is written in a specific poetic form in Kannada literature called as Utpala Mala Vratta. Then, when you go to Shravanbelgola's Choti Pahadi or Chandragiri Hill, the moment you enter, you find this pillar, right? The moment you see this, what is that? Usually you think Manastambh. A bit more. Brahmastambh ho sakta hai. If you know a bit more. It is not Manastambh or a Brahmastambh. It is a Kamba Nishadi. Again, this is a Sallekhanā memorial inscription. This is the first instance of a Nishadi, or the earliest inscription of a Nishadi on a Brahmastambha. It gives the detailed account of a king and his valor and his conquests. It is also called as Kuge Brahmadeva Kamba. Its period is 974 AD. It has 113 lines. Again, the language is Old Kannada. And, interesting thing is, Shadakshar Shettar, one of the well-known research scholars, has done a research. He says the idol in the top is not even Brahmadeva, it is a Sarvana Yaksha. Look at the interesting aspects. Then, Sarvana Yaksha, one of the Yakshas of one of the Tirthankaras. Then, the profile of the person here is a king called Marasimha. And I'll tell you a very interesting thing. I told you it gives details about his conquests and all. Look at this particular thing in the bottom. He relinquished his body by attaining and attained Samadhi by undertaking Sallekhana in a place called Bankapura. It is a village in Haveri district. Where is Haveri? Northern Karnataka. About 350 to 400 kilometers from Shravanabelagola. Those days in 10th century, but the inscription was installed here in Shravanabelagola. Somewhere else he attained Samadhi, but it is installed here. Then one more this thing. Friends, this is one of the very interesting inscriptions. You know why? I told you within a Mantapa Nishadi. The Nishadi is within a Mantap. Mantap ke andar hai ye. This is dated to 982 AD. And it is about the Rashtrakuta king Indira IV. It praises Rashtrakuta king Indira IV, gives a vivid description of his attainments and achievements. Look at the 3rd point. It describes his imitable skills in playing the game polo. A Jaina inscription at a Jaina Tirth, Shravanabelagola, historic Tirth, a Sallekhanā memorial inscription, speaks about game polo. Look at the interesting facts, you get it. Probably the Polo Association of India would be more than happy to have this as one of the references to show how ancient polo game was in India. Right? It was also, polo was played by our Jain kings. Look at the interesting fact here. Then it even says his death is explained, his family lineage. It even tells his title. Ratta Kandarpa, Raja Marthanda, Chaladankara, Chaladaggali, Kirti Narayana, Yelava Bedanga, like whatever I told you earlier, all of this, Bira, the Velar of the Velars, Veera of the Veeras, right? Then You all know about Coorg. Who doesn't know about Coorg in India? Definitely, I'm sure all of you know Coorg and Kodagu. We all go to Coorg only for your. It is the most popular tourist destination. It is called as the Kashmir of Karnataka. But even in Coorg, there is a village called Mullur in Somarpet Taluk. It's hardly 1 hour drive or 1.5 hour drive from Coorg. You find a group of 3 temples, and in opposite to that, it is under ASI, very well maintained. All of these are Sallekhana memorial inscriptions. Period is 1064 AD, and the Guru Parampara is Nandi Sangha. Name of the Guru is Pushpasena Vratindra. What does it speak about? It speaks about the Guru Parampara of Guru and the Guru of Gunasena, and praises Gunasena for his qualities. It again indicates that he attained Samadhi by practicing Sallekhana. Period is 1064 AD. Before I move on, just imagine, if you observe the chronology, I've started in 400 AD. We'll continue. I'll take you up to 1900. You will see how it has evolved over the years. Next, back to Shravanabelagola. You would have, if you know the Choti Pahadi, there is one mantap here between 2 temples. After doing a darshan, these are again 2 nishadis, Kamba Nishadi and again Mantapa Nishadi. Both. Period is 1120 to 1123. And it again, Guru Parampara is Pustaka Gacha of Desiya Gana of Mula Sangha. I mentioned about all these earlier. It was installed by a person called Ganga Raja, who was a general of the Hoysala king Vishnuvardhana, in memory of his mother Pochikabbe and his guru Shubhachandra Siddhanta Deva. It indicates the Samadhi of Pochikabbe, who was the wife of Echi Ganka and mother of Ganga Raja. It elaborates the religious environment that existed in their family when she undertook Sallekhana. Then Shubhachandra Siddhanta Devas, it speaks about the great qualities of Shubhachandra, his pious religious conduct, his gurus and his lineage. Moving on. This is very interesting. We speak about Jains winning over others. We speak about Acharya Bhadrabahu. We speak about Chandragupta Maurya. Okay, multiple things are here in this. Look at this. Again, this is the Kambanishadi. All the 4 sides it is there. And what you see here, you see Tirthankar Bhagwan, you see Muni Maharaj, you see Pichi, Kamandal is here. You see Shrutapita, Jain Shastra is all kept here. So many iconographical nitty-gritty details. And you see this patti. You know, what does this patti mean? You know, we have seen about people telling about Bala Brahmachari. If you find this patti means that Muni who has attained Samadhi was a Bala Brahmachari. And so that is what this patti indicates. And sometimes, you know, when we also say that Mahavir Bhagwan attained some salvation, attained Keval Gyan in a particular, by sitting in a particular thing, Kukutasan. And look at this. If they are sitting in Kukutasan for long, and if they are unable to, Munis, to, even while practicing, they used to tie this. What is this? ये क्या है? केले का पेड़ है ना? उसका extract that has been tied around like this. Okay? And what does it contain? It is 255 lines inscription. Period of Nishadi is 1129. It says that Muni Mallishena Maladhari Deva attained Samadhi. It has 7 stanzas speaking about his greatness and his qualities. Details of people present who were there when he undertook Sallekhana, and details of Jain Agamas, by that how he did as per the Jain Agamas by following the Ratnatraya Marga, Samyak Darshana Gnana Charitra. Then it details about the relationship between different Munis and Muni Sangh, different details of Jaina Acharyas. It gives details of Bhadrabahu, his greatness, and his disciple Chandragupta, and how he looked after his guru Bhadrabahu. It gives the detailed importance of Acharya Samanta Bhadra in 3 stanzas. Look at this, very important. How he won over the scholars at Malwa, Sindhu Desha, Takka Vishaya, Kanchipuram, Vidisha, and other places. It also mentions about the importance of Munis called as Simhanandi and Vajranandi. Speaks about a Muni called as Akalanka Muni, his greatness and his victory over Buddhist group of scholars, and their concept of Tara Bhagavati, whatever comes in the Buddhist literature. It speaks about the influence of a Muni called Mati Sagara Muni and his influence on the Chalukya kingdom. It also speaks about Shantideva Muni, Ajitasena Yati, and many others. And moving further. So this very clearly indicates one inscription. Look at the kind of details it gives you. 12th century inscription. Then look at this. This is a very interesting thing. Again, Mantapa Nishadi and Kamba Nishadi, a group of 4, 2 each, 3 plus 1 or whatever. It is a Kavya Nishadi. Kavya ke roop mein hai. Nishadi of a Dandanayaka, chief of an army. Nishadi of a minister. Records the construction of a Patashala. जो हम पाठशाला हम आजकल बोलते हैं, whatever you call पाठशाला these days, a पाठशाला was constructed in the memory of a person who attained samadhi by following Sallekhana. An example of a mother undertaking Sallekhana. Again, the scripts are Kannada. Again, you see the year 1131, 1139, 1139 again, 1145. Machikabbe, who is the Shravika, she is the queen's mother. Baladeva, who is a Dandanayak or a general. Singimaya, who was a minister. Prabhachandra Siddhantadeva, Muni or an Acharya. It says Sallekhanā of Shantala. That's important. You have all heard about Vaisada. You have all heard about Vishnuvardhana and his wife Shantala. And it clearly indicates the death of Shantala by undertaking Sallekhana at a place called Shivagange in Tumkur district of Karnataka, but the Nishadi is being established here. What happens is, she undertakes Sallekhana in the presence of her husband, Vishnuvardhana, mother Machikabbe, and Guru Prabhachandra Siddhantadeva. And look at what happens to a mother when her own daughter undertakes Sallekhana. Her mother is disturbed. She comes to Shravanabelagola and she undertakes Sallekhana, and that is the memorial here. Then her guru finally undertakes Sallekhana. Look at the kind of interesting details it gives you. And specific installations, like I mentioned, details about Patashala, in short, English terms, reading room or Swadhyaya Gar, whatever you want to call it. Then look at these. When you go to the Choti Pahadi, again you see this. These mantapas, when you ask anyone, they just call you, yeah, Mahanavami Mantap hai. This is Mahanavami Mantap. It is just a colloquial term used by locals. But again, these are Sallekhana memorial, Nishadi inscriptions of 3 different munis, and which are again very interesting. Devakirti Muni, Nayakirti Deva Muni, Shubhachandra Mahayati, again 12th century, and how they attained Samadhi. And this is a group of things. Again, the period is again Hoysala period. Next, look at this Kalyana Chalukyas related period, which is about 12th century AD. It is about a Shravaki or a Shravika, whatever you want to call it, at Humbuja or Shivamogga in Shivamogga district. Humbuja is also called as Huncha. This was recently discovered. Then there's a village called Harakere, again in the Shivamogga district. It has details about a person. His name is not available because some of the inscriptional text is vanished. But his guru, Nemi Deva Muni. And it was found in front of a Hindu temple called as Nandi temple in a village called Harakere in Shivamogga district. Again, discovered by one of the archaeology researchers. And you all know about Huncha. Look at this. This is a very interesting inscription. We should all look at it. You all have heard about Bhattaraka Parampara. You have seen of the Bhattarakas, right? In Humcha, we all know. Currently, the Bhattarakji's name is our Guruji, Dr. Devendra Kirti Bhattarak Swamiji. But here, wherever you have the Padmavati and Parshanath temple, just 200 or 300 meters away, there is a temple called as Panchabasadi. You have a group of inscriptions there, temples there. What it has is, it has details about Mula Sangha, Desiya Gana, Traividya Deva, Balachandra Deva and all their munis. It has details about Nishadis of 2 munis, where it says Pushpa Sena Muni and Akalanka Muni. It describes their qualities. Look at this. How Pushpa Sena Muni conducted himself while taking Sallekhana Vrat. How did he perform the Vrat? Look at this. He with a tranquil mind was always chanting Panchanamokara and attained Samadhi smilingly. He was not fearful of death. With all the tranquil mind, with all the smiling face he took. Further, look at this. He handed over the monkhood to Gunasena Siddhanta Deva, who was the Muni of the Panchabasadi, attained Samadhi on Ananda Samvatsara Pushya Shukla Bahula. Look at the things, the kind of details it gives you. You know, like this is the beauty of our Sallekhana memorial inscriptions. And this is another thing which me and one of my friends, we went on a field work in Haveri district, again 13th century AD. And in front of, again, a Basveshwara temple, Hindu temple, about a person called Bappi Shetty, or a warrior. He was the Shetty, means the head of the village or the region. Uniqueness of this is again a poetic nishadi. It describes the way in which he undertook Sallekhana and how calm it was. It goes as below. Bappi Shetty donated all his wealth to the needy before undertaking Sallekhana. After donating, he, with a balanced mind and happy mind, by recalling the Parama Jineshwara and chanting Panchapada, not Pancha Namokar, Panchapada. Namokar mantra is called as Panchapada here. By renouncing his home, wife, children, friends, all his wealth, overcoming all the aspirations and listening to Panchapada, remembering the Jina. Look at the kind of things. And when he attains Samadhi, he mentions about the glory of Jainism, how great Jainism is. He says, a person with a focused mind can only be nearer to the Jina, the Sarvagna or Sarvagya, by practicing Sallekhana. Look at it. Look at how Jainism is being described here. Next, you all know about Badami Jain caves. We all say 6th or 7th century AD, but you just enter from the right side. On your right, you find a nishadi on the rock there, which is the 12th century inscription nishadi. Though the cave is 7th century, of a lady called as of a Shravika, and called Jakkave. Look at this. Earlier, let me just show you. Here you have a Bhagavan, you have one person, and you have another person. You see this? When we come back here, Bhagavan is there, the lady is there. Guru nahi hai. Means to say, it indicates she is undertaken Sallekhana by bowing her hands in front of Jinendra Bhagavan, because the Guru was not absent when she wanted to undertake Sallekhana. That is how, these are the kind of details it mentions. Okay. Then, this is another person called Malla. And I'll tell you, this is a nishadi inside a small mantap, kind of a very primitive structure. Even now it's in the open air. And this nishadi is called as Karma Devaru. And it is worshipped as per Hindu traditions. They worship this. And it mentions about a Shravaka, who is the head of the village, Guru Parampara, Mulu Sangha, Surastha Gana. I told you it has 3 steps. Look at this particular thing. Bhagavan is there. You find other devotees. You see here. And in between these, whatever you see, there you find the details of the inscription. And what are the details it has? He is called as Nadu Prabhu. Nadu Prabhu. The head of the Nadu, the head of the entire place where he was ruling. And it also speaks about his qualities, such as Vinapada Padma Sadharma, Simyaktva Ratnakara, about his qualities, how he used to follow Jainism. And inscription starts with Om Namah Siddhebhyah. You know, another important thing which I should tell you is, usually 90% of the inscriptions have the shloka, Srimat Paramagambira Syadva Damoga Lanchanam Jiya Trailokya Natasya Shasanam Jina Shasanam. That is the stuti that comes usually in the beginning of most of the Jaina inscriptions in Karnataka. Whereas here, it says Namaha Siddhebhyah. And another important thing is, Devagiri, a place in Haveri district, was ruled by Adi Kadambas. Devagiri was equally an important Jaina center like Shravanabelagola once upon a time. Like what Shravanabelagola was for the south Karnataka, Devagiri was in the north Karnataka. Later on, it found this debacle. That's a different story. But if in Devagiri Kadamba, Adi Kadamba, Devagiri inscriptions, you find the word Namah Siddhebhyah. That is the interesting fact. Then look at this. Friends, you all know about the Sas Bahu fights that happens in families. You have seen about police cases happening in families, right? Now look at this interesting story. Nishadi of a mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, that's a typo, it's and daughter-in-law in the premises of the Shantinath Basadi in Nittur village in Tumkur district. And it is a 12th century thing wherein it gives the Guru Parampara. Moola Sangha Deshiya Gana, we have all seen that. Pustaka Gacha Kunda Kundanvaya. You know, it is a very interesting thing. What happens is Malave, you know, like look at the kind of details. A woman called Malave, who happens to be the mother-in-law of Chaudiyaka, she undertook Sallekhana due to old age. Owing to the death of her mother-in-law, her daughter-in-law, she undertakes Sallekhana. I can't live without my mother-in-law. She was so much attached to her. You can just imagine what was the glory of the Jaina family values that existed in 12th century AD in this part of the world in Karnataka. That is how well the Jaina family traditions were. That's how well Sas Bahus were in those days. I think we should use this inscription to tell people how well a Sas and Bahu should live together in families, right? Then you all go to Shravanabalgala, you go there, you climb the hill, you see this, you know, what is this called? They say, ये आदिनाथ भगवान है और उनका 100 पुत्र का है. That is not what it is, as per my thoughts, as per many other thoughts, many other researchers' thoughts as well, research. It has details about 6 different Nishadis, and this boulder, a boulder in Kannada is called as Gundu, and this is called as Siddhara Gundu. If Tirthankar Bhagwan hai without chin, if Tirthankar is there without a chin, you just call him as a Siddha. So that is why it is called as Siddhas Gundu, and it has details about multiple. You see here Nishadis. There is inscription. You see here Nishadis below this. All these again here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can count again here 5. This is 6. I've given you the count. 6 Nishadis. Just sitting in here, you are seeing 6 Nishadis here on a boulder, and it says Dharma Bhushana Deva, Simhanandi Acharya, and their Guru Parampara of 14th century, all are detailed. Then this is very interesting, friends. We'll go back to Haveri district, northern Karnataka. A group of 6 Nishadis of a single family. Look at this. The first Nishadis here. 13th century of a Shravaka, Guru Parampara, Nandi Bhattaraka. Bhattaraka means Munis were called as Bhattarakas. Don't confuse with the current Bhattarakas. Those days, Munis were also called as Bhattara. Bhattaraka were the words. It indicates the Samadhi of a person called Chandaya. Second Nishadi, Nishadi of another person called Peggade Somaya. Peggade means, Heggade you have heard, head of the village. 1231. Nishadi of, again, another person. Then as we move on, here, Kanakave Samadhi. Again, Nandi Bhattara. Second Nishadi, Nagaves Samadhi. Samadhi is Nishadi. And then her daughter, it indicates her father. She was the daughter of Deva Gowda. It indicates that she practiced Sallekhana and attained Samadhi. Then the third one indicates the Samadhi of Chandi Gaudi in 1239 AD. See, look at this. These were all 3 men, 3 women. Interesting thing is, key highlights of this is my friend Ravikumar Navalagund, based on his entire research, what he's come to a conclusion is all of these belongs to the same family, belong to 13th century AD. Again, it indicates in Haveri district, what is the beauty of Jainism? How well Jainism was practiced. The names Bappa Gowda and Deva Gavunda in all of them indicates they were all brothers. They were staunch followers. Except for one inscription, all of them has details about one specific guru. Then further, that is why, in a way, this entire family can be called as the Mahamarana family, because they have attained Maran to the Mahamaran, that is by undertaking Sallekhana. Then, you all have seen about Nishadis. Do you ever believe that temples are constructed for these Nishadis? This is one such example. You all go to Karkala, Mudbidri and Karkala, down south, Udupi district. There, a chota sa mandir, small temple, inside that you find 3 Nishadis here. And I was telling you about that particular thing that is tied around Bala Brahmacharis. What is that thing called as? That thong. It is called as Yoga Patti. Even here you find that Yoga Patti here. If we zoom in later on, I can share offline. Again, based on the architectural pattern, it is concluded to be around 1350 AD. It has details about multiple things, multiple gurus who attained Samadhi. For example, Hemachandra Bhattaraka, Sri Kirti Devaru, Shrutamuni, Charukirti Pandita Deva, Pujapada Swami, and so on and so forth. And Narendra Kirti Deva. Name of ascetics who preached the Sallekhana. Very interesting. Kumada Chandra Bhattaraka, Vimalasuri Bhattaraka, Siddhanta Deva, Charukirti Deva, Dharmabhushana Bhattaraka, Mahakirti Ravula. Then, friends, we all are, who are not, like shy of selfies. Whenever you go anywhere, if nobody is there to take your photos, you take a selfie, right? Or you ask someone to take your photos, right? Obviously, nothing wrong. Look at this. I spoke about Kanakagiri where we found Acharya Pujapada's Nishadi. Again, over there is a kind of a gufa kind of thing on this rock boulder. It is the Nishadi of a Muni called Megachandra Devaru. And what happens is, he himself, while he was about to undertake Sallekhana, just before undertaking that, he gets this engraved. So that is why I have called this as a selfie Nishadi. A Muni, even before undertaking Sallekhana, he's got his Nishadi done and then undertake Sallekhana. Look at the kind of things that have happened in the history. Okay. Then, because of, I can go on for hours, but because of the time constraint, I'm not going to the details of all of these, because I just want to give you a glimpse. This is again another thing at a place called Echiganahalli. Then this is very interesting. At a village called Sanguru, 9 persons, look at people, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, you see the Guru is preaching Sallekhana with the Guru is here. Here you have Bhagwan. It is inside a mantap, means to say a huge mantap existed there. And important thing is, these were all part of the Vijayanagar kingdoms. A couple of people, they were warriors, they were generals, and the entire family is undertaking Sallekhana. Then you go to Sharanabelgoda, just in front of Bahubali Bhagwan, you find a small temple. You remember, you would have gone to this temple, where Bhagwan ka chinna nahi hai, it is called a Siddhara Basudi. And these two are, both of them are Nishadis. One of them is a Kamba and Kavya Nishadi. You remember, I told you earlier, Muni Malishena Maladhari Deva, where it has details about Acharya Bhadrabahu. Again, it has details about Acharya Bhadrabahu. Again, it is Sallekhana memorial inscription of one of the Munis called as Shruta Muni, period 1432 AD. Then, you all have known about Gerusappa. This is the Nishadi of a Muni, of a queens called as Shantala and Malli Abbarasi, 31st Jan 1405 AD. The kingdom is Saluvas, Haivanna name of the king. 2 women, and both of them were queens. Their names Shantala and Malli Abbarasi. Look at this, it has 4 parts. Earlier we saw 3 parts. You find a mantap. You see a sloped roof. What does this signify? If you just recall, if you have gone to Gerusappa, you know the Chaturmukha Basadi. Entrance around all the 4 sides. In the center, you have Sanctum Sanctorum, Garbhagriha. It has a sloped roof. Okay? Again, it has a sloped roof. You can connect it. I told you it will give you an indication of the kind of temples that exist. Slope roof with steps, it indicates here. Then, this is another thing, very interesting. There's a place called Hadavalli, very close to Gerusappa, about 60 to 70 kilometers. It was also called as Sangeetapura. It was the capital of the Saluvas. Period is 1429 AD. It speaks about the Sallekhana of a Jaina monk. When he was about to undertake Sallekhana, he informs his disciple. The disciple goes to the king, takes the permission. They decide a date for undertaking Sallekhana. Then, what were all the rituals that were performed, the auspicious day and all, and when did he breathe his last? All the details are given in this particular inscription. This is another thing. Look at this. Under mantap, this inscription is there. This is a very simple Nishadi of a lady called Somai. It dates to 11th October 1482. in a small mantapa, and she was a Shravika or a Shravaki, lay woman. She was the wife of Devarasa. And look at this. I have zoomed this in. And what does it reveal? It reveals the Samadhi of this particular lady on 11th October 1486. Then you all know about, we are all, if you are in Bangalore, you know about a place called Chikballapur, which is the nearest taluk center, and you have heard about a place called Gudibande. Over there, this is a, look at this. From the main road towards your right, you find this kind of, it's very difficult to even reach here. I had to do a circus to reach here. And it has 5 nishadis. All of them are Pada nishadis. Look at this, Pada Betta. It is written here. The entire Betta means hill. Pada Betta. Okay. It has nishadi about 20, dating back to 23rd April 1782. Akalajiya is the name of a person, a disciple of Lakshmi Sena Bhattaraka, and attained Samadhi at Karma Kshaya Bhumi. Look at the word Karma Kshaya. Karma ko Kshaya. Karma ko hatane wala bhumi hai ye. Bhavya bhumi hai ye. And it was installed by Sami Setti. And again, the second inscription, it again gives further more details. Antakalajaya, this is Akalajaya, Antakalajaya, name of the person. 3 more inscriptions. You see the padas being inscribed here, and you see there, you have the inscriptions. One again, a Muni called as Bahubali Devaru. Then another Muni called Vrishabha Devaru, 1782. Another Muni, another lady here, Shravika, called as Payaka. Again, when you conclude, 4 of these inscriptions mentioned about Lakshmi Sena Bhattaraka. And like I mentioned, it calls the place as Karmakshaya Bhumi, means to say the lineage of the monkhood is Lakshmi Sena Bhattarak. Then we are almost coming to an end. Nishadi is at Swadi Jain Mat. You all know about Swadi. You have heard about Akalanka, Bhattakalanka. There, Bhattarak Pita is there, Bhattarak ki Gaddi hai udhar. And from the temple, if you go about 1 kilometer or 3/4 kilometer, you see this, a huge open air, huge field. It is completely compounded. Series of nishadis. 20 nishadis in a single row. And see here, Pada, look at the format here. See pillar. What is there inside the pillar? This kind of a thing. Okay. Then you find a pillar here. You see here something is written here. I can share separate snaps. It gives details about the inscription, about who the Muni is. And this is there inside this mantap. Every year on the Mahanavami, during the Dasara day, on the Vijayadashmi day, Akalank Maharaj Ji ka, they take his idol on a elephant back and they take it in a julus. They go here, huge, around 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 people, sometimes even 3,000 people, they assemble here. They do puja to this particular Nishadi. Even to this day, they respect our Acharya Shri, who attained Samadhi by undertaking Sallekhana. And I told you about Mudija or Mundija. And you've all gone to Mudbidri. The moment you say Mudbidri means 1,000 pillar temple, 18 temples, where Shatkandagam was preserved, then you speak about Siddhanta Darshan, the precious Murtiyon ka Darshan. I'm not sure how many of you have even gone to this place, maybe 1 or 2. These are all Sallekhana memorial inscriptions. Look at the steps. These are all, these are all called as Mudija or Mundija. Quadrilateral base, multi-storied structure, 3, 5 or 7 steps, made up of laterite stone and tapers as they proceed. They have a shikara in the top. We can find 21 Mundijas at Mudbidri. They are found in 4 different groups. This is one. You find three similar groups. This image gives you a further more close-up of how exactly this Mudija or Mundija is. We all spoke about Kannada inscriptions. The first one, which I told you, 400 AD, that also had Sanskrit and Prakrit texts in between. But you know what? This is an English Sallekhana memorial inscription dating to 5th April 1925. It indicates this Samadhi of Charukirti Bhattaraka, who is the Bhattaraka of the Bhattaraka seat at Shravanabeлагola. Then, moving on, look at this. Some other Nishadis which are found. Just a quick skim through. A person called Bukkaraya, who was a Shravaka, 1376 AD, Haveri district. Harihara Raya, Shravaka, 15th century AD, Haveri district, Hangal Taluk. Kali Gavundi, a lady, Shravaki or a Shravika, 12th century, Hirekangal village, Hangal Taluk, Haveri district. Maladhari Narindra, he's a Muni. Maladhari was one of the titles given to Munis based on certain conduct because of the way they used to perform, go through the austerities. Same thing, Muni Mallishena Maladhari Deva, which I mentioned to you earlier at Shravanabelagola. Then 12th century at a place called Savanur in a Haveri district. Then Veera Gowda, again who was a Shravaka, at a place called Matagi, Hangal Taluk, Haveri district. These were all interpreted by my friend, researcher, Dr. Ravi Kumar K. Navalagun, as part of his thesis, which is now awarded Jain Inscriptions in Haveri district, submitted to the Kannada University in Hampi. Now, we are at the last two slides. Last 2 or 3 slides. These are the latest discoveries. 3 Nishadis at Kudrigi, a village in the Uttara Kannada district of Karnataka, where you find the better way to tell you is, Joke Falls, hilltop. You go to Gokarna or you go to Honavar. While you go there, you have to pass through, go down the Ghat section. The moment you get down the Ghat section, on the left is the city of Gerosappa. It was a capital, now it's a small village in its ruins. Gerosappa's history itself, I can speak for 2 hours. It's a separate lecture topic. Just besides that, this village is there. 3 Nishadis, 3 steps, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. What does it say? Again, the different ways. Paryankasana, sometimes Padmasan or Paryankasan, Kayot Sarga. You see different ways how Munis are there. The Tirthankar is sitting. See here. Muni Maharaj is preaching. The lady, she's in folded hands. She's undertaking Sallekhanā, and you see the Pichi, Kamandal, Shrutapita. Everything is here. Okay. Then, what does it say? One of the Munis, Samyacharana Munis, the Muni's name, disciple, donated rice to Makkira Soppe Basadi. There was a place probably those days called Makkira Soppe, and there was a Basadi or a Jain temple. Usually Digambar Jain temples are called as Basadis. So to that Basadi they had donated. Then second Nishadi, it again details, the text is all worn out. It says that 62nd Samvatsara Chaitra Padiva Bruhaspati Varat, which is Thursday, Samyacharana Muni's disciple. Rest of the inscriptional details are worn out. You'll realize after I go to the next slide. Again, here, the details are worn out. Partial details are there. Not much of details are there in that. But, I'm still telling it belongs to 13th century. How? There are cross-references that are available in the history books. Samayacharana Muni. See, this side, I told you Shimoga district, Karwar district, where you find these Joke Falls, then you come down, you have Gokarna, this belt. Adjacent to that, on the other side, you have Haveri district. We have references of a Muni called a Samyacharana Muni who existed there during the 1375 AD. That is how we can say, because Samyacharana Muni's name is there, Samyacharana Muni Vihar karte huye. By doing his Vihar, he came to this place. Impressed by his teachings, Prabhavit hoke, people have undertaken Sallekhanā. So that's why I can say this belonged to 13th or 14th century AD. Now, I'm come to the concluding part. When you look at this extensive study distributed of these Nishadis distributed across Karnataka, it provides details. What does it give us? Details about people belonging to different profiles who have attained Samadhi over the centuries. Very interesting and unique details related to the history of Jainism in the religion, Jain way of life, socio-economic conditions of the community, comprehend the Jain heritage studies of the region. Just think of this, friends. The very fact that there were 70 plus Nishadis found at Koppala when the fort's compound wall fell means, just imagine how rampant, how huge was Jainism there, how well Jain rituals were performed by the people there. Then discovery about 50 Nishadis in Havre district means to say, just in 3 years, that person Ravi Kumar, he went through 500 to 600 villages for continuous 3 years across Havre district on his bike. That's why he was unable to unearth 50 Nishadis. If we do a similar research across Karnataka, just imagine how many more Nishadis you can find. Right now, an estimate says there are about 600 Sallekhanā memorial inscriptions out of around 2000 or 2200 the Jain inscriptions. If you do further, you have about 31 districts now in Karnataka. If not 50 inscriptions everywhere, at least on an average 5 to 10 means another 200 to 300 Sallekhanā memorial inscriptions might be found across Karnataka. They're not just the historical sources of Sallekhana ritual. They also provide details of Jainism, the Jain heritage, the Jain way of life prevailed from time to time. Then, where did I find all these details? Like I said, I just told you these 3 inscriptions I found as part of my field work at a village called Kudrigi. Similarly, multiple people have found these on their field work. It is a result of tapas of many researchers over many decades. That is why Mirji Anna Raya, who was one of the doyens of Kannada literature, Jaina literature in Karnataka, he's documented about this. P.B. Desai sir, being a non-Jain, he's written a work, he's written a book, and also from his references from South India inscriptions, he's documented. Dr. M.G. Manjunath sir, he's there in Mysore University even now, who was the director of the Kannada Institute there. He's done an exclusive thesis on this Nishadi Shasanagala Sanskritika Adhyayana, his thesis work. Now I think it's getting translated to English and being published in by the Jain University. That is what sir told me. That is under translation now. Shadakshar Shettar, inviting that Savige Ahwana, his books. Dr. Again, R. Narasimhachar sir, in his Epigraphy of Karnataka works from 1923 AD. Then B.L. Rice, who is called as the Pitamaha of the Kannada inscriptional research, his works, pre-independence, 1890s. Then I told you Ravi Kumar's work, where when I and Ravi Kumar, we went on a work. Then again, I told you a person called K.G. Batsuri, who has done a thesis on Gerusappa. And his during his thesis, he found some new things. Another researcher, Dr. Bhuvanendra Kumar sir, who is there in Canada, he's done research about Kanakagiri. He found something. Dr. S.D. Shetty sir. Like this, one of the, like B.L. Rice I mentioned to you. Benjamin Lewis Rice, 1898 AD. Epigraphy of Karnataka, Volume 4. These are the kind of sources from where we have found these inscriptions. And thank you one and all. Jai Janendra. Thank you, Mani.
Marvelous, very interesting, sir. Nitin ji, you've really done a super duper work. So, Nitin ji, it was such an interesting session, and you have given lots and lots of proof, inscriptions, pillars, and you have just made us a tour. पूरे कर्नाटका की बहुत सारी जगह जिसको हम नाम से जानते थे और कहीं हम गए हुए भी है, पर इस तरह से इस एंगल से हमने नहीं देखा था कि जिसकी आपने ये सारी चीजें बताई, श्रवण बेलगोला की, बादामी केव्स की, येरुसप्पा की, टुमकुर, मूलबिद्री, मतलब ये सारी चिक्कबल्लेपेट, मतलब इतनी सारी जगह पे आप लेके गए आज, और इट वाज रियली इंटरेस्टिंग and session was really very insightful, and we are really looking forward again you to be on this Jain Talks platform once again. अब समय हो गया है, अब अभी आपका ज्यादा समय न लेते हुए मैं डॉक्टर प्रीति आपसे आज्ञा लेती हूँ, और इस सेशन को हम यही विराम देते हैं एक छोटी सी प्रेयर के साथ. सर्वजीवे सर्वे जीवा खमं तुमे मिट्टी में सर्वभूतेषु वीरं मज्जं न कीर्णं वीरं मज्जं न कीर्णं. सबको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद. जय जिनेंद्र सबको.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Jai